you are an owner of a sports league, my friend. Tell us a little bit about that. That's very ambitious.
Yeah, so moving back to the area, my wife's from Gary. I'm from Chicago, but we live in Northwest
You
Indiana.
make it work.
So this is our home, and I have such a big heart for Gary, and so much so that when we first moved back, I actually was a college basketball coach when me and my wife met. We got married, and then we ended up moving back in 2020. One of the very first buildings that I had to go visit was the Genesis Center.
Yeah.
Because I never forgot my dream of just having a team. When I sold my team in 2016, I didn't want to. It was just learning things financially, all those kind of things that I just had to make a shift from it.
Right.
But I never forgot about it. And so visiting the Genesis Center, I really wanted to see because I knew that Gary was an old CBA town.
Right.
And they had the Steelheads.
Steelheads.
So I knew about all of that.
Back when Isaiah Thomas was the CEO of the entire league.
Yeah. So now that team wasn't here, I'm like, my mind automatically was curious, like, man, what if I brought a team here, and just being able to see what a pro team does to a city and how the opportunities are there to touch lives and be in the school systems and touch the youth and things like that. I'm like, man, it would be perfect. Since we're here now, I would love to do that. So I visited Genesis, and when I visited, it was open still. Once the pandemic happened, it never opened again.
Right.
And so I even had other leagues at the time during the pandemic reach out to me because I know some different owners of leagues and things, and they were asking me like, hey, would you bring a team to come and play in this league? But during the pandemic, fans were not gathering and things like that. So it was really tough to really do that.
So you were still out there as far as an owner or a potential owner of a team where you had other guys that were still contacting you like, hey, we'd love to get another team into our league. Are you interested? That kind of stuff.
Yeah, so, back when I had my team, I played in 2 different leagues. So, of course, just navigating that space,
Yeah.
you know so many people. And so those people kind of move up and they become owners, they become general managers, they're connected in different ways. And I still had those connections. So people did reach out to see if I would like to be a part of what they were doing.
Yeah.
It just wasn't the right time with the pandemic, and I wanted that to pass over. But as soon as everything lifted and I could see the light of day in terms of, man, I could potentially have a team, I started going on a search to see how I could bring a team here. But after my search, I just could not find a league that I wanted to put my team in that really embodied what I was trying to do and what I felt like God put me on the planet to do. And so I was like, you know what, I'm gonna start my own league.
Yep.
And so just being around leagues, I've been on the executive board of leagues that I've been in part of in the past. I was executive of the year, my first year owning the pro team.
Nice.
So I knew that the nuances of how things are ran. And so I just kind of set out on that a few years ago. Me and my wife, we took a journey to drive around to different cities that are within like a 2-hour radius,
Yeah.
Places like Rockford, because that's an old CBA city.
Oh, yeah.
So I was
know
just
Rockford, yeah.
looking for things like that. And it all came down to a thought came to me one time and said, why not have all your teams in the region and just being able to have the synergy of the different cities, because the region, they're separate cities, but it's together, but
it's the region.
it's enough of a separation
yeah.
where the teams can have their own identity. So I
Right.
started looking at the region and looking at the cities, and really Gary was the number one.
Right.
But I started looking at other places, visiting places, and so now we're set on our first 4 teams, which the first team is Gary, Hammond, Michigan City, and Valparaiso, and so we're set this summer to actually start our preview season, which we'll play 6 games in the month of July, and this will be a precursor, as well as an example. It's a sample year to show not only the communities but the fans what it is to come, and so we'll launch our full season in May of 2026. But this summer we'll do 6 games just to get everything kind of stirred up and get the community excited to be able to see like the product before we actually start next year.